we've talked about a lot of things, but tell us a little bit about the Scotty Goldman character, if you're willing to talk about it. Was that, was that, did you expect that to be a positive stereotype? How did it turn out to be a negative stereotype? What was your experience?
I got signed by the WWE basically because I had been wrestling for 8 years, traveling the world. All of my friends were in the WWE, and so many of the wrestlers said, you got to sign Colt. He's great. And I think out of pressure, they were just like, okay, if 25 wrestlers are saying, sign this guy, sign him. But, I don't look like Hulk Hogan or John Cena. I look like a chubby Jewish kid from the suburbs. Right. So I always said to myself, yeah, right. Yeah, but we're not all trying to get half naked and be on WWE Raw every night, right?
Good point.
So I was like, what is different about me? Like, in the world of WWE, on the independent scene, in the international market, I knew I could just be me. But I had to say to myself, like, what do I have that's different than everyone? And the Jewish thing did pop up for me. So, when meeting with Vince McMahon or that kind of, or the higher ups, like that was just always something that I kind of would put in my resume of like, if that's something you want to explore, you're welcome to explore it. If you want to pop Israel, if you want to go over there and make that a big town, like I would be your guy. And, and so eventually when they called me up from their developmental territory into, I debuted on SmackDown on the CW network. They were, secondhand, I heard Vince McMahon was like, "Oh, is he Jewish?" And they're like, "Yeah, all right, call him Goldman." That's kind of, that's kind of wasn't what it was, And then I had a meeting with Vince McMahon. It was the only meeting I had with him, and I remember him asking me like, "Are you Jewish?" And I said like, "I am, but I'm not like a super Jew." And that was the only time I made him laugh. He did find that amusing. He went, huh.
Yeah. And well, you couldn't throw up on command for him or something like that. So
no,
exactly. So, okay. There was Scotty Goldman. Unfortunately, it didn't work out. And that's when you sort of embraced your Jewish side.
I don't know if that's what it was, but I guess in the WWE, I had a WWE.com talk show that some of the younger, like cooler writers were trying to hide under the, like under the table because I wasn't being presented on television, but like we have WWE.com, you could do that. And I would write these skits. And then when I would write the skits, they would send them back to Stanford to edit them. And if you ever watch them, it's pretty kind of like gross. Like the editing is like, they add in like, the Family Guy, like, Oy! Like they add those sounds in. They like made the music like Fiddler on the Roof kind of doidle music. And like instead of a Batman symbol, it was like a Jewish star. So like my humor didn't have really any Jewish, but like they kind of forced it in. I thought it was a bit anti-Semitic. Like I really didn't like it. But in the WWE, the culture is so wild that, I wasn't going to say anything, right. In the WWE, one of the trainers that I trained with, he referred to me as Colt Cabana. Jeez. And I wasn't going to say anything. And that's just because I don't know, like that was my dream. And if I said something, I would cause some kind of commotion. And then I assumed because it's such a pecking order there that they would just fire me. Like it was so hard at that time. I thought it was my fault that I was being called Colt Cabana. Well,
it's not. I'm sure you know this, but yes. It's not.
Do you feel that things have changed somewhat in the last decade? Are things different at AEW or in your independent work?
Well, first of all, the WWE is just it's a world of its own. And can I speak whether it's changed or not? I don't know. I'm not there. And I'm happy I'm not there. And I kind of had some opportunities to kind of go back, and I'm glad I didn't go back. And AEW is a completely different world. It's essentially started by the wrestlers on the independent scene who wanted something different, with a man named Tony Khan who had, enough money and a dream to kind of make it happen. And now we put it all together, and it's literally magic, and it's the coolest thing. So it's a different place with a different idea and different visions, and it's just not the same. So I've never really that stuff. That guy called me that. And like, I'm able to brush it off and just like, be like, well, he's the most ignorant person and he's got a lot of problems. He's got to do a lot of work on himself. That's his problem, And so it's not like I was like, the world's against me. I was like, this poor guy is a sad human being and I feel bad for him. So.